Ubuntu MATE 18.10 Cosmic Cuttlefish. Let's take a look. So Ubuntu MATE is the version of Ubuntu, of course, with the MATE desktop environment, but really Ubuntu MATE has become almost the flagship edition of Ubuntu. I mean, Ubuntu's flagship edition, of course, is still the one that ships with the GNOME desktop environment, but Ubuntu MATE over the years has gotten a ton of good press, a ton of good reviews from everybody. It seems to be the darling of the Ubuntu family. So Ubuntu MATE, I'm very excited to take a look at each edition of Ubuntu MATE when it comes out, but I'm really looking forward to Ubuntu MATE 18.10. Reading a little bit of the release announcement here. This is from the Ubuntu MATE blog written by Martin Wimpress. Ubuntu MATE 18.10 is a modest yet strategic upgrade over our 18.04 release. So he's already warning us, not a ton of changes between 18.04 and 18.10. It's a modest upgrade, which has been the case with all the flavors I've looked at so far. Nothing really major changed between any of the 18.10 flavors and their previous 18.04 flavors, with the exception of Lubuntu when I get around to checking that one out, because that one actually changed desktop environments. They're switching from LXDE to LXQt. But all the other flavors have been really kind of modest upgrades, mostly bug fixes, changes in, program versions, but no major changes. So anyway, Martin writes in the release announcements, if you want bug fixes and improved hardware support, then 18.10 is for you. Those who prefer to stay on the LTS, then everything in this 18.10 release is also important for the upcoming 18.04.2 release. So basically, if you want long-term support, stay on long-term support. You really only need to upgrade to 18.10 if there's a specific bug you want fixed and you want it fixed right away, then go ahead and move to 18.10. But a lot of this will eventually make its way into the next point release of the LTS, 18.04.2. So nothing major here as far as, groundbreaking announcements here. The MATE desktop has been upgraded to 1.20.3. There are a couple of new images of Ubuntu MATE. They have made images for the GPD Pocket and the GPD Pocket 2. I guess these little devices here in the picture. That is cool. They have, of course, their Raspberry Pi image. Other than, of course, the move to MATE 1.20.3, they're on Linux kernel 4.18. That's standard in all the Ubuntu flavors now. They're all on 4.18 in 18.10. Firefox is 59.0.2. That is strange because Firefox is on 63 now, version 63, and the main Ubuntu flavor was on Firefox 63, so I don't know, that might be a mistake in the release announcements, because even in the screenshot, it's showing Firefox Quantum 63.0, so that might be a typo. Anyway, VLC is going to be 3.0.4, LibreOffice is going to be 6.1.2.1, and Thunderbird is going to be 60.2.1. And that's about it. Known issues. There are no known issues. So nothing significant anyway. At least nothing significant as far as Ubuntu MATE specific. There are some general Ubuntu bugs that will affect everything that bases off of Ubuntu. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and download the ISO and take a look at this in a VM. Okay, so I've created a virtual machine in VirtualBox to take a look at Ubuntu MATE 18.10 Cosmic Cuttlefish. I gave this VM 2 cores of my 6-core CPU, gave this VM 4 gigs of RAM. More than enough, really, for the MATE desktop environment. And we have to wait a minute or two for the live environment to load. Right now it's just booting off the ISO. This would be the same as putting it on a USB stick and booting directly off a USB stick. It takes a minute to load up. Alright, and it looks like, alright, we're in the live environment. Now we have the option of try Ubuntu MATE, which will close the installer, and you can just play around in the live environment if you want. Or you can install Ubuntu MATE. I'm going to go ahead and run through the install really quickly. So click install Ubuntu MATE language. It's already chosen English US for the language, so I'm just going to click continue. Alright, what apps would you like to install? Do we want the normal install, which includes all the apps that normally ship on Ubuntu MATE? This would be your web browser and your Office suite and your games, your multimedia, all that. Or do we want to do the minimal installation, which just has a web browser, a few basic utilities, probably a terminal and a text editor, a couple of things, basic stuff just to get some work done, but really they expect you to install, your Office programs of choice and your multimedia players of choice. This would be for more advanced users. I'm going to do the normal installation. Other options, do we want to download updates while installing Ubuntu MATE? Yeah, I don't mind doing that. There really shouldn't be too many updates anyway. This was just released. We also have the option of installing third-party software for graphics, Wi-Fi, additional media formats. Yes, we need to tick that on. That's going to get us our proprietary graphics drivers, our proprietary Wi-Fi drivers, our multimedia codecs. So we need all of that. So this needs to be ticked on. Click Continue. And we wait a few seconds. Maybe more than a few seconds. Alright, and then we get to what to do with our disk here. So the computer currently has no detected operating system. What would you like to do? So in this VM, there's no operating system installed on the hard drive. It's just empty. If there's no operating system on the drive, or if there's just one operating system on the drive and you don't mind overriding that operating system, then the first option is what you would choose. Erase disk and give Ubuntu MATE the whole hard drive. That's what I'm going to do. Now, if you were wanting to do something else, such as dual boot alongside another operating system, Windows 10 for example, then you might have to do something else. If you want to do some custom partitioning, you go down here, choose something else, and then you would click Continue and you would set up the partitions manually. I am not going to do that. For purposes of this video, I like to choose Erase Disk and install Ubuntu MATE and let it do its automatic partitioning. So I'm going to click Install now. We get this warning. It's about to format the drive and write to the disk. I'm going to click Continue. Alright, time zone. It's correctly chosen the central time zone in the US for me. I'm going to click Continue. We need to create our username and password. I'm going to call my user DT. We need to create a strong and complicated password for the DT user. And then we have the options of, do we want to log in automatically without being asked for a password, or do we want to require a password to log in? I like being asked for a password to log into my computers for privacy reasons. And the installer goes. This next portion of the install usually takes between 5 and 10 minutes on my machine. You will get a slideshow that you can watch while the installer runs. If you want to manually cycle through the slides, you just click the arrow and you get some nice information about Ubuntu MATE and some of the apps that will be installed or could be installed on your system. Anyway, really nice slideshow. Kind of lengthy slideshow for Ubuntu MATE. A lot of slides in their slideshow. Alright, I'll be back once the installation is completed. And the installation has completed. Now we need to click Restart Now and reboot the machine. That's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, and I have rebooted my freshly installed Ubuntu MATE 18.10 Cosmic Cuttlefish. What a great name. Alright. It doesn't look like we have the VirtualBox guest editions working out of the box, at least not in the login manager. Let's see if when we actually log into the desktop environment, if it works. Ooh, some strange graphical glitching going on. Anyway, I'm going to take a minute and see if I can get the VirtualBox guest editions to work for me. Alright, so I was not able to get the VirtualBox guest editions to work. They build correctly, no problem. But when you reboot the machine, all you get is a black screen and a blinking cursor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reattach the ISO and take a look at the MATE desktop environment off of the live image. So I have reattached the ISO to the VM. Basically, we're just going to boot off a live ISO. This would be the same as booting off the live USB stick or live DVD. So you guys at least got to see me run through the installation on camera, no problem. I could have still reviewed the distro on camera, but I would have got this very small screen resolution. Nobody wants to look at, I mean, this is like a 640 pixel screen resolution. It is insanely small, but let me choose Try Ubuntu MATE. And we're just going to take a look at it as a live image. On the live image, the guest editions are already installed on the live image and should just be working out of the box. So, and they are. We get a full 1920 by 1080 resolution here. All right. We'll wait a second for everything to load up. I know in Ubuntu MATE we usually get some kind of greeter, some kind of hi, hello, welcome to Ubuntu MATE kind of greeter that pops up. But I guess we're not getting one. Okay, well I won't wait any longer, so I guess the greeter's not going to come up here in the live environment. Anyway, let's go through, well, I say that and you know what? I think I had this problem in Ubuntu MATE 18.04 too. The greeter sometimes takes forever to launch, even after install. I think their greeter is a snap app. I could be wrong about that, but I think this is installed as a snap. So the snap programs tend to take a long time to open up, especially the very first time you open them up. So that could be the issue here. But the greeter is a fantastic little greeter. We have introduction, basically introducing you to what Ubuntu MATE is, especially good for new users. Features, so features about Ubuntu and the MATE desktop environment. So really neat little slides there. Installation help if you need help on how to get this installed. Again, this is the live environment. That's why installation help is here. I'm sure if we had actually went through the installation, none of this would be here, because why would you want to go through the installation a second time? So under the installation guide, though, here in the live environment, we have system requirements, installation preparation, how to dual boot, install now, which should just launch the installer. We have disk utilities for doing our partitioning. So we have the GNOME disk utility. We have gparted also available to us. We have a community tab that's probably just going to open up a web browser and take us to like the Ubuntu MATE website, maybe their forums. We have chat room, which probably would just take us straight to their IRC chat channel. Yep, ubuntumate.org/IRC. Looks like they are the Ubuntu-MATE channel on the Freenode network for IRC. And how to get involved in the project, shop, and donate. So let me close out the greeter. We also have some links to various social media for if you want to follow, Ubuntu MATE on social media. So I'm going to close out the greeter. I'm going to quickly go through the menu system here and show you what is installed by default in Ubuntu MATE 18.10. At least, what's on the live disk, but most of this will still be on the installed version. The only thing that will be removed after installation, the installer will no longer be here, and maybe some of the disk partitioning editors will not be here. So gparted, for example, probably won't be on the installed version. But other than that, everything else should be here on the installed version. So under accessories, we have backups. So this should be Deja Dupe. It is a GNOME app. That is why in the menu system, it doesn't say Deja Dupe. It just says backups, because GNOME likes to just use very generic names for its apps, in menus. But it is Deja Dupe. This is the standard backup utility in mainline Ubuntu. Also under accessories, we have character map. We have the Ngrappa archive manager. So this would be for zip, unzip, tar.gz, any of those compressed file formats. Ngrappa 1.20.1 and archive manager for MATE. Also under accessories, we have the MATE calculator. I will open the MATE calculator because it opens really quickly, where the GNOME calculator and mainline Ubuntu took forever and a day to open up. Is because the GNOME calculator in mainline Ubuntu was installed as a snap. Again, snaps take a long time to launch sometimes, but apparently with the MATE calculator in Ubuntu MATE, it is not installed as a snap because that opened pretty much as soon as I clicked on it. You have the MATE font viewer, the MATE search tool, password and keys. We have Plank for a dock if we wanted a dock. We could get rid of one of the panels and use a dock instead. or all of the panels and use the dock instead if we wanted to. Let me quit Plank. Really nice, lightweight, kind of simple to use dock. We have Pluma for our text editor. Pluma is the standard text editor in the MATE desktop environment, Pluma 1.20.2. Also under accessories, we have Redshift, which is for changing the color temperature of your monitor from like day to night, as the day goes on. Wow, the brisk menu has quit unexpectedly. If you reload a panel object, it will automatically be added back to the... Okay. We are in a live environment, so this is not the installed version of Ubuntu MATE. Plus, we're in a VM, so that could be the reason for this. Now, it said if I reload something on the panel, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. I may just have to restart. Or I could just right-click on the panel, add to panel. Let me just add another brisk menu. Yeah. I guess that works. Close that. Now the brisk menu is way over here, though. Can I move it? Right-click on the brisk menu, move. Now we can move it wherever we want to move it to. So I can't get it on the other side of that quick launcher for Firefox. I wonder why I can't. Oh well. Is this kind of locked in place? Yeah, locked to the panel. So move. Now let's lock that in place and lock the Firefox quick launcher in place. And we've got some error messages. Let me not send the bug report or the error message and tell it not to open that up again. It will remember that, by the way, if you click remember, I don't want to send, this error. If this was an actual install, I might send, those reports, to help the guys at Ubuntu MATE out. But for this, I'm not going to bother. All right. Anyway, Redshift. Color temperature adjustment supposedly helps you, it's supposedly good for your health, good for your sleep patterns, changes the color of your monitor, as the day goes on from day to night. We have a screenshot utility. We have the Ubuntu MATE guide. So the Ubuntu MATE guide is actually a really fantastic, it's fantastic documentation. Anything you want to know about Ubuntu MATE can probably be found in the guide. Everything from how to, change your theme and, how to use certain programs like the text editor, the file manager, how to install or remove software, update the system. Really nice documentation for Ubuntu MATE. We have an administration category. I won't play with this right now, but this is going to be, like your login window, network, printers, software and updates, startup disk creator, user and groups, and of course the welcome screen, which we already saw, the welcome program here. If I launch it, and it launches a little quicker the second time. Going back to the administration category really quick, I will open up the software boutique. This is the software center in Ubuntu MATE. And I want to highlight this because it is a really nice software center. So software boutique, there is abundance of software available for Ubuntu MATE, and some people find that choice overwhelming. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, we have an accessories category. We just click on that icon, and we have some popular accessory kind of programs to install. We have an education category, games, graphics, internet. If I wanted to search for a program by name, if I knew the name of a program, for example, HTOP, it's probably not installed by default. It doesn't come up because we haven't updated the repos. We haven't done any kind of like a sudo apt update, so that's probably why that search comes up empty. Anyway, the software boutique is very nice. Under education, there are no education programs installed. Under graphics, we have the Eye of MATE image viewer. We have the MATE color selection tool. If I click that, basically, if I click anywhere on the screen, usually it will give me a color selection. No, that's not the way this one works. I actually have to figure out the colors myself. Some of these color selection tools, you basically click anything on your monitor, on your desktop, and it will give you that color. This one does not seem to have that functionality. All right, also under the graphics category, we have Shotwell. Shotwell is a really nice photo manager. Shotwell 0.30.1. Also under graphics, we have Simple Scan for scanning documents. Under Internet, we don't have much under Internet. We have our Firefox web browser, Thunderbird email client, and Transmission BitTorrent client. Now Firefox, they mentioned that they were using Firefox 59, but I know Firefox is already on version 63, and 63 was what was in mainline Ubuntu. So let's check the version of Firefox that we're on here. Yeah, 63. 63 is on the ISO, so yeah, 63 is what Ubuntu MATE 18.10 is on. Alright, and the Office category, we have our document viewer for viewing PDF files. Then we have the LibreOffice suite. We have Calc, Draw, Impress, Math, and Writer. We also have a MATE dictionary. LibreOffice, according to the release announcement, was on 6.1.2, I believe. Let's open up LibreOffice Writer here. Go to About LibreOffice. Yeah, 6.1.2.1. So, very recent version of LibreOffice. Alright, under Preferences, now the preferences include things like drivers, appearance, Bluetooth, disk, display, firewall, keyboard. This would be the same stuff that would appear in the Control Center. If I go down to the Control Center and open the Control Center, you see you have network, printers, software, etc., mouse, display. All of that was also in this menu category under Preferences. It's all here. Also have a category called Sound and Video in the menu. We have the Brasero disk burning utility. Brasero is GNOME's disk burning utility. Nice program. 3.12.2 is the version. A simple to use CD, DVD burning application for GNOME. And also under Sound and Video, we have Cheese for a webcam program. We have Rhythmbox, which is GNOME's audio player. This is a really nice, full-featured music player, Rhythmbox 3.4.2. Music management and playback software for GNOME. Also under the Sound and Video category, VLC is our media player. I really love that Ubuntu MATE installs VLC out of the box. VLC 3.0.4. I think most people probably use VLC, especially for a video player anyway. But a lot of distros tend to ship with other video players, depending on what the desktop environment is. For example, GNOME has their own video player they ship with. KDE distros usually ship with Dragon Player or whatever, and but I think everybody, pretty much most people, end up installing VLC anyway, so just install that and don't install any of those other lesser video players. Anyway, that's pretty much the menu system. You do have some quick links here for the session settings, locking the screen, turning off the computer. Anyway, I had opened up the Control Center earlier. Under the Control Center, we have a software and update utility. So if I click this, this would be how you would update the system with a graphical program. We could also get our additional drivers here if we didn't tick on that box in the installer, which we ticked that box in the installer to install the proprietary graphics drivers, Wi-Fi drivers, multimedia codecs. If we had not ticked on that box, we can still get them. You just open up the software and update tool and click the tab here, additional drivers, and it will install them for you. This is also where you would add PPAs for those of you that want to use PPAs in Ubuntu MATE. And let's see, what else in the Control Center is worthy of taking a quick look at. We have the appearance here. This would be where we change our theme. So let me open up the file manager here. This is the Kaja file manager, by the way, here in MATE. So you can see the changes taking place. If I wanted to, this is a Ambient MATE is the name of this theme. They have Ambient MATE Dark. Now that is a really sharp looking dark theme. We have Black MATE, which is also nice, where the Ambient MATE had like an orangish kind of hue, black, but with some orange kind of hue to it. The Black MATE, not quite as dark, but it's got a kind of a bluish kind of hint to it, almost. We have Blue Menta, That's not bad for a light theme, a light silvery theme. We have blue submarine. Yeah, not crazy about that. We have green Laguna. Not crazy about that at all. Green submarine. Yeah, it's a bit strange. Anything else I want to... we have, some traditional stuff here, very Windows-like. Looks like the Clear Looks theme. You know what? I'm going to go with the Ambient Mate Dark theme. I think that looks pretty good. Or actually, Black Mate. Yeah, I'll go with that. We also have a background tab here. Let's see. Get more backgrounds online. But by default, we have a very nice Mate wallpaper pack. So I could change the wallpaper. Yeah, not a bad wallpaper. That's a very nice dark wallpaper, but since I'm using a dark theme, I probably want something light in color for a wallpaper. Maybe something like that. That's a neat little wallpaper. And here's one with a night sky. That's not bad. There's no really light wallpapers though. Nothing, nothing light in theme. So it looks like, we're stuck with dark wallpapers. I tell you what, I'll go with a dark wallpaper then, but I'm going to go with a light theme. So, what was the light theme I said was really nice? The silvery theme? I think it was Menta. Yeah, I'll just roll with that for now. One other thing I wanted to play around with. Mate has a really nice tweak tool called Mate Tweak. If I just type tweak in the menu system here. Yep, Mate Tweak. Alright, we have options for the desktop. Do we want to show desktop icons? By default, that's ticked on. I don't care for icons on my desktop. It's just unneeded clutter. We have options for the panel. Select a panel layout to change the user interface. Now, this is really neat. This is a really great feature with Ubuntu Mate. Is by default, the layout is called Familiar. This is the standard GNOME 2 layout from years past, which has, a top and a bottom panel. That was the old GNOME 2 look. It's kind of like if you go back and take a look at the really old Ubuntu flavors back in the GNOME 2 days, like Ubuntu 8.04. You would have saw this exact same layout here. They have a contemporary layout. If I click OK. Let's see what the contemporary layout does. Well, it's taking a minute to load, it looks like. Or it may have just crashed. Not exactly sure what the contemporary layout was supposed to do. Let's switch to Cupertino and see if that one works. Now the Cupertino layout did work. Cupertino, of course, is going to be a Mac kind of layout. So you got your panel at the top. And the menu system has changed to this full screen kind of menu system. That's interesting. And of course we got the plank dock at the bottom. Let's see, the other layouts, Mutiny, which of course, as the name suggests, probably mimics the Unity desktop. That actually mimics Unity pretty well. We have, looks like a global menu, and then we have, our dock on the side. The problem is, what happened to the Ubuntu Mate tweak? It minimized to the panel here. Well, that's neat that, minimize and unminimize work on that panel. That's actually pretty neat. I kind of like the old Unity interface. We have a netbook interface. We have Pantheon, which I'm assuming is similar to the Cupertino one. Probably going to have a top panel and a dock. Yep, top panel and a dock. Except now it's the brisk menu and not the full screen menu. And Redmond, of course, is going to be more Windows-like, I'm assuming. Yeah, just a panel at the bottom. And you have your traditional kind of start menu, your traditional Windows-style menu. So that is pretty neat. And honestly, if I was just going to use something with a panel, I would probably use something like this myself. Matter of fact, I'll just leave that one for now. And we can also play around with the Windows settings in the Mate Tweak tool. Window control placement, it's on the right. I actually like it on the left. I think having the close buttons and everything on the left make more sense, for me anyway. So again, the MATE desktop environment, very customizable. I don't like the fonts. I wonder, could I change the fonts? So if I go back to appearance. Okay, it's not wanting to type, but that may not be the VM. That may be my wireless keyboard. Might be time to change some batteries. Let's see. Yeah, we have the option of changing fonts. I'm not going to play around with the fonts. What about icons? If I search for icons, would it suggest anything for me? No, it doesn't. Surely there is a way to change the icons, though. Let me open up the control center again. So if I go to appearance again, which is where we changed the theme earlier, and Menta, of course, was our theme. If I click the Customize button, now I get some other options, such as the control buttons at the window, which are fine. The window border is fine. Icons. Now this is what I wanted to change. It's using like some lighter color icons, which makes sense. It makes a lot of sense on a dark panel, but I am using a light panel. So if I click Ambient MATE, that's really designed for a dark panel. But just the MATE icons in general. Ubuntu Mono Light. Those actually don't look too bad with the panel. You see, that's changed a little bit. That's not bad. The Adwaita icon set, of course, is not a very attractive icon set, but it actually looks better on the panel than the other icons that I was using. Just going to go with Menta. Since I'm using the Menta theme, I'll use the Menta icons. Does Control-Alt-T bring up a terminal? It does. Uname space -R. The kernel, again, is 4.18.0. And I went ahead and changed back to the default wallpaper and the default theme, the dark panel theme with the default icons. Yeah, I think I like the look of that. Anyway, what are my thoughts, my initial impressions of Ubuntu MATE 18.10 Cosmic Cuttlefish? Solid release. Ubuntu MATE always is. Of course, my video here was just taking a look at the live image. Unfortunately, did have a couple of, programs crash. The brisk menu crashed a couple of times. But again, this is basically a live image. This would be the same as like booting off a live DVD or live USB stick. Not the greatest performance. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to take a look at system monitors, or I'm not going to check out CPU or memory usage because completely unfair, off of a live image. But the system, even off the live image, seems to be running fine. I mean, programs seem to open and close rather quickly. Occasionally, one or two will hang, but again, it's a live image. For those of you that are on Ubuntu MATE 18.04, would I suggest you to move to Ubuntu MATE 18.10? Not necessarily. If you're on the LTS release, just stay on it. It's supported, I think, for 3 years. Stay on 18.04 until 20.04 and then upgrade to the next LTS. There's no reason to move to these interim releases. There's really nothing different in Ubuntu MATE 18.10 than Ubuntu MATE 18.04. Everything I just showed you is in Ubuntu MATE 18.04. All the same programs. The only thing different is that some of the programs have been updated to newer versions. You get a newer version of, the Office suite and, Firefox and Thunderbird, a newer kernel, etc. But do you really need that for most people? No, there's no reason to move to 18.10. The only thing that you're chancing, if you have a system that's already working on 18.04, the only thing you're chancing with a 18.10 upgrade is breaking your system, because sometimes the upgrades don't go that well. If you're going to go through the upgrade process, back up. Make sure you have good backups just in case. But overall, Ubuntu MATE, solid release. I'm glad I took a look at it. Before I go, this show was made possible by Ansem, Carlos, David, Leo, Rob, and Tony. You guys are the producers of the show, my highest tiered patrons. Without these guys, this show would not be possible. Also brought to you by the fine ladies and gentlemen. You see all their names on the screen. These are all my Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel. You will find me at DistroTube over on Patreon. Peace, guys.